Okay, let's see if I can have this make sense. We're going to show, I'll start with the minimum movement distance, and I'm just kind of trying to replicate what it feels like is happening in Tarkov, right? It feels like the minimum movement distance is something like this. So like if the player just taps the key as quickly as possible, just taps it and lets go, that the player steps like this big of a distance, more or less, right? Compared to other games that seem to allow more of a fine-grained control, just a little bit of a movement like this. If you were to just press the key and release, you can get these really, really, really fine-grained movements, right? Okay, and here we are with Valorant. What's interesting to note here is, again, if you compare it to what you just saw with Escape from Tarkov, you'll see that there's a lot more fine control with the keyboard presses. Again, I'm just the same rate, bing, 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 just quickly. Okay, and here we have Overwatch. I'm deliberately picking one of the faster characters here just to show it. And you'll see, again, compared to Valorant, it's a little bit bigger on the kind of the pulses. If you're just pulsing your keys, Squad has probably one of my favorite movement mechanic sets. And here I am again showing the nudges. Just quick impulse presses. You can see you can have really, really fine and smooth control over the character, over the character's position. When you combine that with kind of the gradual slowdown of inertia, I think that may be what kind of feels like if those two effects kind of stack onto each other, right? They snowball into each other. So if no inertia, the step is like this. If we add inertia, and I can't really show it very well on the camera here, but if you picture, here's the step it's making, and then on top of that, it steps, and there's a little bit of like a drifty, slidey thing, right? You'll see what I mean if you do inertia and you look down and you see yourself step, right? So those two together kind of may amplify this feel of kind of being floaty, right? Okay, so here's what maybe a suggestion would be, is instead, I'll just kind of more show this with the camera than anything else, and I'll go a little bit lower so we can use the lines in the wood as a reference, right? So, and forget my feet. I just kind of show it. It's not so much about my feet now; it's about the camera motion. So watch. The game kind of feels like this. I'm stepping and I'm gradually coming and then going back. Kind of picture like it's like a pendulum, right, or a seesaw effect, right? It slowly comes to a stop and then changes direction. Slowly comes to a stop and then changes direction, right? Is what the inertia kind of feels like right now, okay? And I think maybe what we're used to kind of seeing and experiencing in real life is not so much this gradual pendulum seesaw type thing, right? But it's more like this. And I'll see if I can show it. It's a quick deceleration, right? Like my foot comes out as like a stop, right, as a hard stop, and it's a relatively quick deceleration that pauses, right, as my leg, and I can't really show it here, but as my leg is like bracing, and, you know, my muscles are firing to get all this stuff so I can push off in the other direction. So something they might experiment with is, instead of it having be this kind of like a ship, like a seesaw motion, right, it could be the same time, right, within the same time window, it's just expressed differently. It's a faster deceleration, a pause, and then a more or less a quick kind of acceleration in the other direction. And I'll just do this a little bit so we can kind of see, right? See that sharp stop, pause, and then push. Sharp stop, pause, push. Versus wee, right? That's not really how it feels. Okay? So that's something to maybe think of. But man, overall, hey, awesome job. Awesome job. You guys took some big risks, some big jumps, some big improvements with this patch. And man, it's paying off big time. Great job, BSG. Super great job. Claps of applause, right?